I'd like to, is this working? I'm not hearing nothing. Anybody hear me?
No.
What? All right, I'm gonna call this August 19th, 2025 regular board meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public comment during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Chambers, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Nichols?
Here.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Here.
Ms. Pritchard? Here. Ms. Smoyer?
Here.
Mr. West?
Here.
Thank you.
First up is approval of the minutes from the special meeting on July the 9th and the special meeting on July the 30th. I would entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from anybody on those minutes from those two special meetings? Hearing none, Mr. Chambers?
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Ms. Smoyer?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any additions, removals, or modifications to the agenda? Anybody?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Chambers?
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Ms. Smoyer?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Sable, your communications, please.
Yeah, I'd like to start by welcoming back all of our students and staff to the 25-26 school year. Had the opportunity to go around and visit most of our buildings throughout the day today, in between other meetings. I want to thank our COAT team and Dr. Kwolek. I know they were out and about all day as well. We greeted students, split up the buildings and greeted the students as they entered this morning. Very positive start to the school year. It amazes me how smoothly things go in the buildings. Really do not miss a heartbeat coming off the summer break. I was especially in awe at Northrop, where I got to see their dismissal, and being a former high school guy, we just release the students at the end of the day and they go home. The amount of organization and effort, though, that goes into making sure elementary students get in the right car, on the right bus, are headed the correct pathway home is really impressive. And then to see that staff do it on day one flawlessly was even more impressive. But that's just one small example of how smoothly and great things moved throughout the course of the day. Talked to many students who were excited to be back in school and excited for the new school year. Our theme for this school year is based off of the old board game, the game of life. Every bee has a story. The reason why we selected that theme throughout the school year is because we're going to be highlighting the work that happens with our students, by our students, as well as with our staff throughout the course of the school year. We'll be presenting them on a game piece where they'll tell their story. So this year is about stories of deeper learning, of transformation, of development, and of growth. I'd also like to publicly thank our Board of Education for your attendance at our staff's opening day. I think in my nearly 10 years in the district, that's the first time we've had the entire board attend opening day. And I know that's a challenge for board members. Some people may not realize, but you all have full-time jobs and other activities that you participate in. So to be able to take the time aside from other things that you're engaged in, and to show up on opening day really meant a lot, and I had staff members express that to me. So very positive start as we roll into the 25-26 school year. This year, of course, we wouldn't go a year without trying to continue to advance ourselves as a school district in what we do to educate students and work with our community. So we are engaging in our strategic planning process. In June, our central office team presented on our previous strategic plan, where we were at in terms of meeting those goals. We have already started the new strategic planning process for the next 3 to 5 years. That process started over the summer with all of our administrators in the district participating in a half-day workshop for them to discuss our future plans and goals, put some of that to paper. We also, in August or late July, worked with all of you at our board retreat and spent several hours doing the same kind of work, analyzing our strengths, our weaknesses, directions where we would like to see the district go. We will be rolling that strategic planning process out to our general community, our parents, our staff, as well as our students in the coming weeks. Amy Busby has worked on setting dates where we're going to run focus groups and pull people in order to provide us with small group verbal feedback on directions for us to head in our next strategic plan. Most of those will be occurring throughout September. We wanted to wait till we got through the Labor Day weekend and people were really back engaged in the fall and in school to provide that feedback. In addition to the focus groups, there's also going to be a district survey, which we're in the process of working on putting together. And we're also going to be reaching out to dignitaries or important people in our community for individual feedback, including Mayor Hanwell. Because we want to make sure our community leaders are engaged in the direction that we're heading with our school district. There's going to be communications going out in the coming weeks with dates and invitations, so I ask that people look for those in their emails, on social media, and all other places that you receive information from Medina City Schools. Next, I'd like to invite Ryan O'Colop. He has the privilege of fulfilling legal requirements and presenting to the board food service and child nutrition updates each year.
Craig, we've had so many technical issues. Craig set me up here with an extra battery, and we're good to go, Craig, so thank you. Yeah, I get the opportunity to go through the 24-25 school year numbers. This is just a review of what we accomplished last year. This is Angie Sellers is the head of food service, so this is her data that I share with the board every year. The food service staff, we have 47 staff members. They're cafeteria managers, cashiers, cooks, servers, secretaries, and supervisors. And they range from 2.5 hour a day line serving positions to the full 8-hour a day positions for the supervisors and the secretary for the department. And there's the annual wages and benefits. The interesting thing about our food service program is this is a self-supporting department. So that means their funds is what pays their salaries, their wages, and all their services they provide. But the way they do that is through the cafeteria sales, the federal and state reimbursement, the USDA programs, and then their special events, the catering and special interest things that they do. So this is kind of just a quick breakdown of that information. The lunch, breakfast sales, these are the numbers that I have to provide for you each year so you know what the cafeteria sales is doing. And we broke it down further with the lunches and then the breakfast And this information's on the website as well, so you can digest it more at your own time. I'm just kind of going through it quickly for you. These are the federal and state reimbursements that we get. And you can see the different categories and then the planned assistance levels. This is the free and reduced lunches. That's where that dollar figure figures into what the district takes in from the government for those services. So this is the regulations and guidelines that we follow as a school district. We do the USDA nutrition regulations, the National School Lunch and School Breakfast programs. We follow the breakfast meal pattern requirements, which are next, and the smart snacks for the schools, those guidelines. And that's, as Amy Smoyer knows, as a room mom, that came into play a couple of years back and really changed how we do classroom snacks. But and again, this is something you can digest at your leisure. It's on the school website. This is a school breakfast programs, and it just goes through all the categories and how many servings of each individual item are needed. The school lunch program then as well. And these are the guidelines that we adhere to serve school lunches. And then these are the smart snack guidelines. They're also on there. Room moms need to know this for providing snacks for classrooms. And this is from Angie. Thank you for your support. So thank you very much. Any other questions about food service?
Just a comment. I have sometimes had the opportunity to eat the food from our staff, and it is really good. And I talk to people around the community, and I tell them what we have, and that it's self-supporting, and they're very surprised. But the food is phenomenal that our staff makes for our kids, and the rare occasions that we as adults get to try it. So
I had it in the back of my mind that you were going to comment on that, so I appreciate that. Yes, I did, because they do a lot of our luncheons. When we have meetings, they provide the lunches for us, so it is a nice service that they provide.
And they do all they've helped the band so much, or me, because I've been in charge of the commissary type things and selling all the food. So they have been a humongous help to the band when we have occasions, and I'm sure they have many other things that they help with. And I know they're busy almost every weekend, at least at the high school. So I'm just grateful for them.
And I'll pass that along, because the crew is
Appreciate that.
appreciative of that. So
Yes.
thank you. Okay,
Great, thank you. Yeah, and I just want to add, and I say this every year, but it's really impressive what our food service program does to be self-sufficient. In the districts I've worked in, this is the first one I've worked in where they are truly self-sufficient and not subsidized through the general fund. And they do it by running a lean machine. I know the board just approved an increase to the lunch prices. That's the first time in 3 or 4 years that we've done that, which is impressive with what we've seen with increased food costs in the country. Next up, we have Dr. Kwolek with the calendar committee. We have some proposed changes to this school year's calendar that are a result of the negotiated agreement that is on the agenda this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Sable. I just wanted to let the public know, and mostly our parents know, the reason I'm re-bringing back the next 2 years of calendars to the board is we're going to be adding 3 additional early release days to the calendar. For the upcoming school year, those will be September 25th, October 9th, and January 15th. And we're adding those because in our negotiations, if the board is to approve the contract, we're adding some additional professional development time, so we'll be able to work with staff during those times. The calendar committee was really conscientious about trying to place those dates during times that would be the most convenient for parents. So we tried to combine those with a day off the next day or some other things. So we tried our best to do that. So on the agenda for you guys are the 25-26 and 26-27 calendars. And then I also wanted to just let everyone know that I met with the districts in the county last month, and then we're going to meet again in October to look at the next 3 years, because we always try to provide parents 3 years in advance. But in doing so, that's why sometimes we have to do this, which is bring you a change, because we're trying to provide parents things so far in advance. Sometimes there are changes. Any questions? Perfect.
Thank you. OSBA conference, I wanted to bring to the board's attention that the OSBA conference has been moved back a week or two from its usual dates. I'm not sure why they needed to make this adjustment, but it does impact our calendar. It now coincides with our November board meeting. So we are going to need to change the date of the November meeting. We don't need to decide that tonight, but I wanted to make you and the public aware that that would be happening. In the initial conversations that I've had with Lisa, as well as Andrew and Amy, is moving it up a week and doing it a week earlier. And the reason for that is I believe the following week after OSBA is Thanksgiving week. So not an ideal time to have a board meeting. We will handle that as we have in the past, where Lisa will send out a little survey regarding a couple potential dates. It doesn't necessarily need to be on Tuesday, but I'm sure we'll look at that Tuesday just to keep a rhythm. And then once we get feedback from the board, we'll send out what the actual date will be. In regards to the OSBA conference, I just wanted to mention that we will definitely have 2 new board members heading into January, and we'll miss Joe and Becky. But when we book for the OSBA and we know there will be some change on the board, we always make sure that we have the option available for whoever the newly elected board members are to participate in the OSBA this November, as they'll be fairly recently elected. And last but not least, I'd like to invite our central office team up to share updates regarding the committees. And Tina, let's start with you.
All right, good evening, everybody. Last Monday, we met with the Board Curriculum Committee, which we have had the same members on our committee for the last, I would say, probably 4 years. It's a great committee. They're very committed to our work, and it's so nice to have them come back every year. So things that we discussed, we went over our instructional goals for the year. We set those goals at our district leadership team meeting earlier in the month, and that is a group of around 70 teachers and administrators. We get together and we talk about where we're going as a district, and we continue to work on our deeper learning initiative. Another thing that we shared with the Board Curriculum Committee was our MCS Career Framework, and that is a website that we put together to let our parents know how we're preparing kids at every level, elementary, middle, and high school, for careers. So that will be coming soon. It's in draft form. We wanted our Board Curriculum Committee's opinions on that, and then once it's all settled, we'll have it online for everyone to see. Thank you.
And next we'll have Ryan back up with facilities. I know he and his departments had a really busy summer.
We have, and we had a facility meeting last month, but I'm going to do an audible here and take advantage of the time tonight to go through some of the summer donations we've had from some of our local families, communities, and of course our organizations. We have Ken, don't get upset, but I have Ken Dworznik here this evening from the Boosters, and they play a big part in our donations. So I just want to go through and show you a couple of things that were done this summer, and these are community donations. So this was Memorial before this project started. This is the front. You can see the paint and the stucco work was falling off the front of this stadium. It was reworked with block, the brickwork. The building was tuck pointed and then primed and painted. Everything was done very, very well. The groups of, you'll see the names and the donations that were made on here. This was done very, very well. So we're very pleased with the community involvement and what they were able to accomplish here at Memorial. This is now the back of the stadium from the first shot. Hopefully this gives the kids a sense of pride when they come to play and come to the stadium to watch games. So we're super excited about this project. We have others too, but this is the list of donations that went into Memorial Stadium, totaling $137,000. So this project would not have happened without the support of the community. The field and the turf renovation as part of that was a big sum of that, and that came from MSA Soccer. So I want to make sure that I acknowledge them. And Ohio Temporary Heating employees did all the pressure washing and prepping for painting. So that's another group that it's important to highlight their activity in this. And there's a list of donations that you'll see in the donations. This is MYBA did, it's the same facility, homestead renovation. So they did $10,000 worth of material into this field to get it ready they use it for their summer ball. So we're happy to partnership with people, community members and organizations that use our facilities and also help maintain those. So the other part of this is at Homestead, House Bill 47 requires youth sports to have AEDs on site. So we're providing the electricity. They provided the box and the AED, and these are heated boxes, so they'll be out all winter. I think when you have a sign up that indicates AED, it has to be there. So this will be there. That was Homestead. This is Blake Elementary. They use a baseball field at Blake as well. And this is, again, these are the partnerships that are great because the school district does not use that baseball facility. So MYBA, Medina Youth Baseball Association, takes that on and does the maintenance to that field in the summer. So this is kind of a little joint project. They provided the AED. We provide electricity for it. So good partnership, and then they maintain that field for their sports. This is one at Canavan, and this is from Medina Youth Gridiron Football, so the flag football. They use the Canavan facility, which works out real nice because we also run cross-country there, and it allows us to have shared access to the AED that they've provided. We provide the electricity. Again, this is Canavan, and there'll be another one at the rec center. It is not complete at this time, so I don't have that in the show. So those are the projects. There is another project of donation that's on. It hasn't been completed, but it's for the digital signage above the old concession stand at the high school for football games. You'll, of course, be able to use that for rugby, lacrosse, any other sport that plays on Duke Stadium. So that's another donation that you'll see tonight to approve. But I just wanted to take my time to share those projects with you and our appreciation for our joint projects that we have with the different organizations. So thank you.
I
Ryan, I have
have
a
questions and
question.
comments, so does
Sorry.
Jean. Go first.
Okay, the ball field on Union Street,
Yes.
what are we doing with that?
So the other baseball field, we don't use that for high school baseball at all. So we're going to convert it into a soccer. We're going to grow grass, and they're going to use it for soccer, for specialty. So they don't wear out goal mouths. They're going to use it for corner kicks and specialty play setups. So they're using that particular field once we get the grass planted there. We'll eventually take down the backstops, and they'll use the dugouts for soccer storage.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, sorry for taking off so quick.
Oh, no worries. Awesome. That is amazing. And I know the board is very appreciative to everyone who donated their time and talents and treasures, because that really, truly is amazing. I want to make sure, I know you said turf. I think we mean grass though, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I want to make sure there's no confusion.
No, it is grass. They did the turf renovation, they call it because it's grass, is they first aerated it, and then we put down, I think it was 180 tons of sand over top, and it levels it, and then allows the grass to grow through, and it creates a softer surface. So it's a pretty intense process that they go through to do that with some very specialized equipment.
Well, we are very grateful.
Yeah.
That really is a fantastic, amazing project. I was actually at a grant writing workshop earlier today as well, and someone was trying to look for grants for AEDs because they are expensive. They're, I think, about $1,200 a
Yeah,
piece.
and the setup that we're using is about $2,500 for the case that the heated case that we put them in is another $1,000, and then you're about $1,500 for those.
So yes, we're very, very grateful. Thank you.
Let's call it natural turf.
Natural turf, that's good. All right, now I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you, and Dr. Kwolek with the Policy Committee.
Oh, that's fine. I'll stay. I'll do that when I get up there. That's
I'll be quick. We have one set of policies on the agenda for today. House Bill 322 has redefined, unfortunate that we even have to have this, but the definition of grooming, and so we wanted to update our policies to include that. And then in doing our due diligence in registration this summer, we realized that one of our forms is one we use sometimes, but not the one we use most often. So it's our residency affidavit form. So if a family doesn't have a lease or a purchase agreement and they're doubled up with someone, we use a residency affidavit. And the form in board docs is not the one we use most often. So that's the second form in here, is just making sure we're consistent and the board adopts the form we're using the most often. So policy committee will be meeting again. We just got our next packet, so it'll take me some time to go through that, but it's probably one of our busiest and most diligent grammatical committee. So I appreciate, again, we'll miss Becky tremendously. She's very good at editing. She was one of those students probably then when she would edit your essays for you and you'd really appreciate it. So I do really appreciate her work on that.
And Dave, you're welcome to do finance or do it during your section.
Okay, the Finance Committee met July 17th, I believe. We went through the figures that I'm going to give you for June, went through those very quickly, and then we spoke about legislation that was affecting school districts, both those that were passed and those that were vetoed by the governor. So it was an interesting round of conversation from not only presenting the legislation and the vetoes, but from the Finance Committee questioning about what was going to happen if those vetoes came back and were overridden, as one was after we were discussing. So our next meeting is in September, and I believe it's September 18th. Any questions on that? Thank you. Now I'm going to talk here. Thank you. Let's go to our June numbers here. Thank you, Craig. What we have, we started the fiscal year, let's go here. We started the fiscal year, this was July 1st of 2024 with your $33 million. We collected $107 million in revenues and $99 million of expenditures since that time. And then, so we had an ending balance of nearly $40 million. However, this number includes our encumbrances at the end of the year. So what you have to look at, and I'm going to be pointing to that number later on because that's very important to one of those vetoes that the governor did that may be overridden. So let's go on to our revenues. Our revenues for the year, $107 million. This is, as you see, it's a higher number than we anticipated. The sole reason for that was we made transfers at the end of the year out of the emergency fund and out of the substitute levy to the general fund. So that increases the, it's a paper increase to our revenues, but also when we get to the expenditures, you'll see the paper increase to our expenditures. Our real property, we collected $61 million. This is 17% above last year. The reason for that, as we all know, is the emergency levy was passed in November. We collected from January to June. Our state foundation, $18 million. This is 3.2% above last year at that time. It also includes that $400,000 in casino revenue. Now we get to our expenditures. Our expenditures, we had a total of $99 million in expenditures, and this is 107% above anticipated. Again, this refers to the transfers at the end of the year that we did. We have to account for transfers going out and monies coming in with the transfers. So that's why we're at 107%. We get to our personal services. You'll see it's at $54 million. This is only 1.2% above the year before and 1.6% below the year before that. And if you recall, last year in 24-25, we reduced because of redistricting, and so we had numbers of staff members that left the district through retirements and everything else. So we are running below where we were last year for our personnel. Now our benefits reflect this even more because our benefits are down 3.7% compared to the year before. Now that is going to change this year because we had a, Jim, 18? 12.5%, 18% increase? 18. Yeah, that's what I thought. We had an 18% increase that started this July in benefits. So that's going to really affect us. And then our other expenditures, we had $14 million in other expenditures. This is down 5.7%. Now, our investments. I want to touch on our investments. We had a very, very, very good year in investments. Part of that is because rates were up. Rates were up above where they were last year at this time, hence the reason that we're nearly or over $500,000 more investment income than we had the year before. However, and this refers back to what I was talking about with the ending balance. If the legislators override the governor and put a 40% cap on our ending balances, we will never hit this $2 million mark again, no matter what, because we will then have our revenues from the county through property taxes lowered by the commissioners. So that's the one point I want to make here. Again, $2.2 million. This offset taxes for the upcoming year by $2.2 million. And that's roughly about one-fourth of the total taxes that we took in with the emergency levy. Get to our true days cash. Our true days cash, you could see we ended higher than we did last year. We ended lower than we did the year before. So if you remember, the year before we were looking at a levy to keep us in our stead here because of rising expenditures. So the levy came through, and we first started seeing the monies in February, and the monies are coming through June. Now, this coming year, when we get to July, you'll see July is much larger than the previous July. And then finally, I want to go through, this is what I was talking about, and you've all seen this before because it was on one of our presentations before to you. This refers directly to our ending balance. The top line is a cash flow for a normal levy cycle. So starting in '24, we were at just above $30 million. '25, we start collecting the money. '26, we're still collecting even more money, and the reason is we only collect 6 months by the end of '25. '26, we have a full year's worth of collections here. You can see '26 and '27 are about level off, and then we start as inflation grows and as more expenditures grow, you see that our ending balance declines. Now, if the legislators go through with what they want to do here, and they have 2 years to do it, if they go through and override what the governor vetoed, we could see a drop in the first year of being overridden by nearly $14 million, which is what the emergency levy was. So we could see that drop, and you could see it in the red. And you could see that we are basically below where we were when the levy was first enacted. So that's why it's so important to talk to the legislators about not going and overriding our emergency levy, not going and overriding the governor's veto. And of course, where can you find our financial information? It's on our website. All our documents going back to 2014 are on our website. I know that Ms. Busby is going through a website change right now, and we are going to be archiving those documents from 2014 to 2018. And so if you want to look for those, you would have to give me a call, and we could pull them up for you. Anything 2019 and above will still be on our website. Thank you. Okay, now if you could change that to July. Okay, here we are in July. July, we start with $41 million. That is the cash. That is not the cash minus the encumbrance. So that's our starting figure, $41 million in cash. We had received $32 million in revenue so far, and you'll see that most of that's coming from real property tax. And we've only gone through $6.8 million in expenditures. So our ending balance right now seems high. It's $62 million, but that will wear off as we go through the fiscal year. Go to our revenues, $32 million. You see $30 million of that $32 million is real property taxes. State Foundation, $1.4 million. It's 2.2% above last year at this time. And go to our expenditures. I know I'm going fast, but you've seen this all. I just want you to know the numbers here. Our total expenditures, $6.8 million. This is 7% above 7% of where our 5-year forecast is looking at. So you could see we're very low with our expenditures at this point. Personnel services, $3.5 million. This is 13.1% below last year, and I wanted to make a note about this, that this is due to the reductions that occurred last year. They did not occur in July, did not occur until August started, so at the end of August is when you would start seeing reductions, but the first payment for our most of our staff was either August 1st or I believe it was August 30th last year was the first payment for our teachers. So you may not see a reduction on there until we get to September. So our benefits are up. You see 11.1%, and again, this refers to where our benefit premiums have gone. And our other purchase services are up, and this is up amongst all our categories, so we're up 72%. A large part of that was our capital projects. So last year at this time, our capital projects were in the negative. We had rebates that came in for some reason with our capital projects, so we were in, I believe we were in negative $200 at that time, and now we actually have a positive in capital projects of it's either $16 or $20 million or $20,000. Sorry. Get to our investments. Right now, we're up over last year in our investments. We are up by $12,000. We have a total of $174,000 that we've earned so far this year. get to our forecasted funds. Now, you'll notice something different on this, and this was pointed out by one of the members of the Finance Committee. In last year's, you'll see that it runs from lowest to highest. And everything else on my financials, except for the 2 days cash and the investment income, run from lowest to highest. So we changed that around so everything will run from highest to lowest. If you look on my financials that are on board docs with you. So everything in July will run from the current year to the lowest year. So yeah, he was getting the transposition. He's I can't understand the transposition because 2 of the graphs were running lowest to highest, 2 of the graphs were running from highest to lowest. So we're making all 4 graphs run from highest to lowest. So again, pointing out here with 2026, you'll see we are above where we were last year. We're above where we were 2 years ago and the major portion of that is because of the emergency levy that was passed in November. Any questions?
Mr. Chambers, when you mentioned the casino revenue that was up a little bit,
Yep.
does that include now the sports betting and online betting as well, or is that separate?
Actually, we do not receive anything from the sports betting at all. No, that is, school districts are excluded from that. But if you also want to know anything about the sports betting, no one's received any money from that. The state has been holding on to the money because they said there was no, I believe it was no distribution method in the not the legislation, in the ballot language that went through for that.
So maybe we could ask them to fund public schools with it. They brought in a lot of money.
Oh, what they
from
have,
that. They've been
yes.
reporting it, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yes, they have. So.
I don't remember, but I can look it up and let you know. It's a lot. Yeah,
It's
a
in the
lot.
billions.
Thank you.
So,
Mhm.
yes, so,
All right, thank you.
no problem. Any other questions on the finance? Okay, I have to do, just like Ryan had to do a presentation for the nutrition, I have to do a presentation for our annual commercial paper requirement. So, and thank you again to the board for approving the use of commercial paper as a tool for investment purposes. Last year, the district purchased 7 items, 7 pieces of commercial paper totaling $3,050,000. We sold 8 items totaling $4,010,000. And we had an income of $143,859. The investments that we had last year were from Bank of America, BMO, National Bank, RBC, Salvation Army, and Toyota Motor Credit. Our sales were for Citibank, National Bank of Canada, RBC, TD USA, and Toyota Motor Credit. And I believe it was around 3.578 was the average interest earnings. So. Any questions on that? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. We are at that board communication times. Who has some communications and would like to go first? All right, Ms. Pritchard, you can go first.
Okay. Last night I was at Blake for Meet the Teacher Night. A lot of people coming. We did have a few runners, however, and these were younger children of students that were going to be enrolled. Somehow Mrs. Labdis moved away from the door, so I was in charge of runners, and one young lady who was about 2 or 3 gave me the dirtiest look I've ever think I've gotten because I wouldn't let her go out the door to go to the Kona ice truck until her parents came. But it's either that or she decided she never wanted to go to school there. I'm not really sure, but we did stop her in time before she hit the door. So anyways, but it was a good turnout, and it was a good mix, and I think nobody left crying, so I thought that was a good sign. I attended the volleyball preview for the county on August 8th, and I'd like to thank all the volleyball coaches for setting that up. Everybody got to play a game plus more. This past Saturday, Dr. Kwolek and I did the all-world athletic activities. I went to see the girls' JV volleyball team play Hoover. They lost a great match, 26-24, the first game. Then I attended the tennis team's double tourney. And our girls' tennis team has 60 players on it, and they all get to play, not in that tournament, but they all get to play during the course of the season. Then I finished off Saturday by watching the boys' varsity soccer team and then the girls' varsity soccer team. The boys lost, unfortunately, but they've have some injuries, and the girls' varsity won, beating Brecksville Bees, which is always hard when they just say the Bees and you're really not sure who they're referring to. I also took some pictures of the senior parking places, and if people haven't had a chance to see them, there's some really terrific artwork down there. I personally like the Field of Dreams one the best, because who doesn't like Kevin Costner, really? And I would like to congratulate the freshman golfer Trent Riedel in breaking the 18-hole scoring record by shooting a 68 at Greyhawk. First match of the year, he tied the record. The second one, or his fourth one, he broke it. So that's bodes well for the golf team. And then also, we had some passings of some longtime people who worked here. Margaret Cummins, who's a member of the Hall of Fame and was elementary coordinator for a long time and taught at Canavan. Linda Robinson, who also taught at Canavan. Mary Reed, who was a Schindelholz, a lifelong resident, was a high school custodian. And just recently, longtime counselor and JV basketball coach Rich Story and Scott Sorrell, who was a baseball coach and a history teacher at the high school, all passed away recently. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Nichols.
Thought you were going to Becky. Unlike Jean here, I did see some people leaving crying from the Fenn Meet the Teachers night. Just a handful of kids that were told no, they can't get candy from the City Schools Foundation table. So I had a different experience, but it was good. Parents were definitely excited. You know, I would ask them, all right, are you excited to be back? And the parents are like, yes. The kids weren't too happy, but I think everybody had a good time. For the most part, as long as they got candy. And then just attending meeting the incoming staff breakfast. That's always a good time. I think I ended up showing up later than I normally do, because I usually try to hit up all the tables and say hi to everybody before the building representatives end up doing the introductions for new incoming staff at the buildings. I only got to one table this year, so I definitely failed compared to other years, but still got to talk to some people coming in across a couple different schools that were excited, teachers, paraprofessionals, maybe I'm not going to guess on the third one. And then in the same fashion as that, I didn't show up late for the opening day for the teachers that Aaron had mentioned in his, that he thanked everybody for coming. But I did wake up 10 minutes before I was supposed to be here, so that was a mad dash to get here. Luckily there was coffee, so I could have about 3 or 4 cups of that as quick as possible. Besides that, I mean, my little guy's back in school. He's tired, he's cranky, and he's going to bed early, and that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. So which one of you two wants to go next?
All right. We had the retreat that all of us came to. It was based here. Great information. We were treated to some information in regards to how the board can do well and how we can work together. And how to think outside the box, I believe. So that was really great, and I appreciate you guys doing that and hosting that. Facilities committee we went to. There were a lot of things that happened over the summer. What he just went over was just the tip of the iceberg of all the things that happened in the whole Medina City Schools District. It just blows my mind, all the things that they do over the summer. And then the opening day, I am so glad I was able to attend that. It was great. They had, we had the game of life that Aaron was the MC host. What would you call that? So it was great in that regards. Some of the teachers played in it, and then they had some students. One was going into, I believe it was Claggett, a high school and an elementary school kid, and they were so great up on stage. So it just was entertaining. The other thing, of course, I got to plug the band. The band started it out, the marching band, and they were amazing and had some of the teachers. I took a video of it, and I was just looking at the band while I was taking the video, but watching back, the teachers were really getting into the song. So it was wonderful. And I know a lot of them commented saying that it was great to see them up on stage as well. They may not have been excited for the 8 a.m. start, though. I will definitely note that, especially because they had their band picnic the night before. But otherwise, it was a great intro, great stories. Aaron shared a great story from his trip to Puerto Rico this summer. Very intriguing, and just how your life does matter, how your life does play into everybody else's lives. So this theme will be very good. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Smoyer. Mrs. Parkhurst.
We all have a story to tell, right? Mhm. What's yours? That's right. So welcome back. I wanted to welcome everybody back. Mr. Sable, I appreciate you giving the principals the evening off from our meeting. I'm sure they've had, after last night and today, a very long day. So maybe we can keep tonight's meeting on the shorter side as well. There have been some great articles in the Cleveland Plain Dealer lately about property taxes and how they have evolved over time, how funding has shifted at the state level. I encourage everyone to check those out, and I don't know if there's a way that maybe we can link them to our website or something. We can talk about that maybe offline. But there's just been, this past week, there's been two, because there's been a push to eliminate, for some people, to get a ballot initiative to eliminate property taxes, which would not only affect our public schools, but would affect our cities, municipalities, and townships as well. So they've done some stories about how our property taxes have shifted, how businesses what they pay is going down versus what residents and agricultural property is going up and taking on more of that burden. So I just think it's interesting and informative for everybody to check that out and see how that will affect not only the schools, but their communities at large. I did want to congratulate Mr. Sable on his selection to the Ohio School Leadership Institute. So we are proud to have you as our superintendent. We are honored that you are going to accept that invitation. You and your administrators have been advocating heavily for our district at the state level and for public schools overall, and I think that's important. And we do appreciate, we know that's a lot of time away to spend down in Columbus, but we do appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll try to be brief, but I've been quite busy over the last month or so. 2 out of the last 3 weekends, I spent time at the farmer's market with our school tent. Spent pretty much the whole time there and talked to a lot of people that were coming back to school, kids that were coming back to school. Their parents would stop by, and talked to quite a few parents that were from out of our district, but had questions and would ask, like, well, what is there for my student? And I would say there is something for everybody in Medina City schools. If you like the arts, we've got the arts. If you like sports, we got sports. If we got academics, we got academics. And so that was really good. The new employee breakfast, I did attend. I was late because I had the time wrong, but I did get to see the second 2/3 or the last 2/3, and then also talk to a few people before they took off on their magic bus ride around the district to visit various facilities. Also was there on Friday for the welcome back opening day. That's always a good time. Aaron, you made a very good Bob Barker, and Amy, you were quite the good, Johnny Olson was Bob Barker's announcer from years ago, so you two played up your roles very well. Amy, I think you could get a job as an announcer for a game show host. You did quite well. I like the Game of Life theme. It's relevant, it's timely. I think it's a good theme for our year, and it'll be interesting to see what each of our students has for a piece, how they fit into it. Also, I stuck around for the AI presentation that you had for the staff. Although I don't work in education, we are involved in AI, and I saw a lot of similarities and briefly talked to the presenter. And AI is not a panacea for everything. It is a tool. You just have to know how to use it and where it should be used and where it shouldn't be used. So, also, I was at Wait last night. I walked around the building and I poked my head into most of the classrooms at Wait and just said hello and introduced myself to as many staff as I could, and parents. Parents were obviously pre-engaged with getting their children to their rooms and get them set up. There was an awful lot of excitement in that building. There was a lot of kiddos that were excited to move up a grade, and some of them were coming back to visit their teachers that they had last year, or there was a couple that showed up that were middle schoolers that just wanted to see their elementary school teacher again. And I would like to, I am sure that this occurred in all of our buildings on opening day, but our administrators do a phenomenal job getting the buildings ready, and they are busy all summer long. When I see one and I interact with them, I usually over the summer ask them, have you taken any vacation? No, not yet. Most of the time they're not taking vacation because they're working, getting ready for the school year. It is a huge job. And finally, just to add on to the food service, I did poke my head into the cafeteria Wait, and the lady that worked there was kind of surprised that I walked in, but they were excited, and I think the meal for today was chicken nuggets, and she's like, the kids will be happy. Chicken nuggets on the first day, so. And smiley fries, yeah, sure. So, but she was excited, and, I paid compliments to her and, just the food service staff at how good it is and how well our food service people do. So, and that's about all I have. So, first up, action items, treasurer's action items. Mr. Chambers, huh? Oh, I'm sorry, public comment. I blew past. Do we have any, no one wants to chat, so we will move on to treasurer's action items. Mr. Chambers.
Thank you, sir. If it serves the board, it is recommended Board of Education approve the June 25 and July 25 treasurer's financial reports. And item number 2 is supplemental to temporary appropriations. It's recommended Board of Education approve the following supplementals to the 25-26 temporary appropriations. If you look at the appropriations, these are comparing them to the June temporary appropriations that were passed by the board. You will see that we've had a decrease in the general fund. The reason for this decrease is the county auditors are still providing monies into both the emergency fund and the substitute levy fund. So we have to account for those in the emergency and substitute levy fund, which is the 016. You also have increases with the title grants. These are carryover monies from last year, and also the new monies that we just got. I believe it was on I want to say the last day that I was here before vacation, the 8th or something like that, 8th or 9th of August. We just got the new monies for the title grants. So those are the big increases, and the rest are slight increases, your 018s, your 300s, and so I just wanted to talk about those.
I would entertain a motion for treasurer's action items, the treasurer financial reports and supplemental to permanent.
I'll make a motion to
Thank
approve
you.
it.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments for Mr. Chambers? Anybody? Hearing none, Mr. Chambers?
Ms. Pritchard,
Aye.
Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Wrong one here. Cross it off. Ms. Parkhurst,
Aye.
Ms. Smyer,
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Sable, your action items, please.
First is donations. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following donations to Medina City Schools. And usually I highlight a few, but Mr. Cole did an outstanding job of going through those. Number 2 is a transportation resolution, which I have to present to the board annually. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the transportation resolution, which deems students from non-public schools and students living outside the non-public school attendance area as ineligible for transportation for the 2025-2026 school year. Number 3, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the affiliation agreement between the University of Akron and Medina City School District for a partnership for clinical and field experience placement. This is allowing us to partner with Akron for training teachers, for bringing student teachers into the district. Number 6 is service agreements. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following service agreements. The first 2 are through pupil services. The first one is for counseling services and therapy services for students at Evolve Academy. I do want to remind the board that Evolve Academy is self-sufficient, so they function off of tuition that they receive when they accept students. The second is a contract with the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio. I keep wanting to call it Cuyahoga County because that's what it's been for most of my career. And this is to contract a school psychologist. School psychologists have been a challenge to find, not just for Medina City Schools, but for all school districts. There's currently a shortage. It's part of the overall educator shortage. So this is going to provide us additional services that are needed to meet our students' needs. And then the last 3 for St. Francis, I'm not going to go through all these, but these are pass-through funds. We are the fiscal agent for St. Francis, so our Board of Education has to approve their expenditure of funds. 7, as presented by Dr. Kwolek, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the revised district calendars for the 25-26 and 26-27 school years. We have 1 field trip on the agenda. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the following overnight field trip in compliance with policy 2340. And that is for our girls soccer team to go to Penn State. And number 9 is personnel. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following personnel recommendations pending completion of all required paperwork per the Human Resources Office. Several things I want to point out on here. The all board-approved certified staff are eligible to provide home instruction tutoring to Medina City School District students at the rate of $30 an hour. So this is a recommended increase, and that all board-approved current certificated substitutes are eligible to work with students for home instruction tutor positions as approved by the Director of Pupil Services. Also, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the updated certificated substitute pay rates effective August 15th, 2025. And then the last one on here, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve pay rate increases to the following junior varsity and varsity event worker positions on the attached athletic and performing arts center worker rate sheet effective August 1st, 25. All of these increases that I just recommended are moderate increases, and they've needed to occur for some time. Especially, I want to point out the substitute increases. This puts us in line with substitute rates across the county. It's an increase that needed to be recommended for a while, but we held off on because of the financial and levy situation in the district. We are hopeful that this is not going to be a fix, but will be a help with the substitute shortage that we face in our buildings. And again, that's also a challenge for all school districts. I also want to point out the recommendation for contract adjustments. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following administrative contract salary adjustments effective July 1st, 2025 for the superintendent's administrative assistant and the director of community relations. These contract adjustments are, again, to put these positions in line with similar positions in surrounding districts.
Thank you, Mr. Sable. I will entertain a motion for superintendent action items H, 1 through 9.
I'll make a motion for the superintendent action items H.
I will second that.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from anybody?
Mr. Sable, I appreciate the adjustments that were made. We do need to stay competitive within the county, so I think that's good that we were able to do that. I did have a question regarding the service agreements where we act as the fiscal agent pass-through. It's not just, though, that the board needs to approve. There is some cost that is involved in being the fiscal agent for those, correct? Or maybe that's a better question for Mr. Chambers. We don't get any.
Yeah, it probably is more of a Mr. Chambers question, but
Yeah, we do not receive anything, but we are the fiscal agents. Well, I should take that back. For auxiliary purposes, we receive a 4% stipend from the state for any amount that they have. But we do not, we are not charging them for that. The state is charging them for that and then reimbursing the district.
Because we do have time involved in administering that. That was my point. There's people's time involved.
Yes, well, you could see that we're acting upon it here. We have secretaries that act upon it on both the financial end, the payroll end. So yes, throughout the year, we have services that we provide as the fiscal agent. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just want to comment that I am glad that we are increasing the substitute rate. Having substituted in the past, I know that it was not competitive. So to other schools, I still stayed within Medina because my kids were here, but in all honesty, it needed to be raised, so I appreciate that you guys looked at that.
Anything over here? I will say that in my discussions and talking with various administrators over the 2 weekends at the farmers market, and then when I've interacted with them, they all have told me that they're out substituting in their buildings quite frequently. So hopefully this is a little bit that'll help reduce that workload and let them be doing what they're supposed to be doing, administrating their building. So thank you. Anything else from anybody? Mr. Chambers, when you're ready.
Yes, Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Ms. Smaller?
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Sable, action item I. That's you, right?
It is. Medina City School Psychologists Association negotiated agreement. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the collective bargaining agreement with the Medina City School Psychologists Association effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
I'll entertain a motion for the Medina City Schools Psychologists Association negotiated agreement.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from anybody? I'll just say I want to thank our psychologists for working with the board and the administration to come to an agreement so we can move forward for the next couple of years. So I appreciate that very much. And that's all I've got. Mr. Chambers, when you're ready.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Ms. Smaller?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Sable, Medina action item J, Medina City Teachers Association negotiated agreement.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the collective bargaining agreement with the Medina City Teachers Association effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
I would entertain a motion to accept the MCTA negotiated agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the MCTA agreement.
Thank you very much.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from anybody?
My only comment is, I'm sorry that the Teachers Association wasn't willing to make some changes in healthcare to bring the cost down because it really affects everyone across the district, especially the support staff, and 18% is quite a hike. That's my only concern.
Anything else from anybody? Hearing none, Mr. Chambers, when you're ready.
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard? Ms. Parker?
Yeah.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Smaller?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Sable, action item K, administrator compensation.
It is recommended that the Board of Education of the Medina City School District approve a 3.5% salary increase for all district administrators, excluding the superintendent, treasurer, director of community relations, and superintendent administrative assistant, effective July 1st, 2025. I do want to point out that the reason why the Director of Community Relations as well as Superintendent Administrative Assistant are on here is because of the contract adjustment already provides an increase.
I'll make a motion to approve that action item.
Thank you.
I'll
Do I hear a
second.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from anybody?
Yeah, I want to make a couple comments, and they've all heard it. I just think that we have given every group a 3% raise, and I think we need to be consistent. Both the treasurer and superintendent took 3% raises, and I don't think one group should get more than another group. I don't doubt that the administrators work very hard. I've seen that. But I just think for fairness, I also think having just passed a levy, and we promised the public fiscal responsibility, even though 0.5% doesn't seem like a lot, it is, especially to those on a fixed income, and they're probably wondering where we're going to come up with some of that money. And there is a perception in the community that A, we have too many administrators, and B, they're overpaid. Now, that's their perception, and I've had many discussions with people and tried to show them that, but this is just one more thing that they're going to hold against us the next time a levy comes up. So I just wish you would, I value every employee in this district the same. The support staff, the psychologists, the teachers, the administrators, and I just think we need to, everybody should get the same raise at this point. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to point out that unfortunately in the past, the administrators have taken less than our bargaining contracts have, especially when we've been in areas of fiscal concern. So I see this as a way to make up to them for what has happened in the past. Ideally, it'd be great if everybody could get the same percentage, but that has not happened, as well as our administrators do not have steps, whereas our 3 bargaining units, there are step increases within those contracts. Ms. Pritchard, to your point about community perception, I think it's incumbent upon us as a board. I know you said you've tried to communicate with them. We do not have, we're not overly staffed with administrators. We've compared ourselves to other districts, and we have less administrators per student than many of our surrounding districts as well. So I'm happy if there's anyone in the community that has questions about that to reach out, and we can have a conversation. I can show them the data on that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Joe?
Yes, I'd like to go too.
Sure.
I am in agreement with Ms. Pritchard. I like to, I agree that our administrative staff really does a great job. We have been kind of negotiating back and forth on this, and I'm kind of sticking to the 3% should be just an overall. Yes, apparently those above have a comment on that too. However, there's a storm going on. If you guys can't hear it, I'm sure you can. But, the administrative staff does do a great job. I just do believe that it should be a 3% across the board. I know it's been explained to me that the steps in the teacher contracts are not the same as the administrative contracts. But truly, again, the perception of the public, they don't understand that. They don't understand steps. I did not understand steps until this past year, and it's very intriguing. And they do get some steps, but not until later on in their 20-year step. I just I want to stay with the 3% across the board. Not that I don't appreciate the administrative team at all, and they do a good job, but I'm kind of sticking with exactly what she said. Everybody that I had talked to that have come up to me state that our administrators are overpaid, and a 3% is going to be a good increase for them just as well.
Last thing, I just would encourage all of us, when people come up to us, and they are more than welcome, I encourage people to state their opinion, but it's incumbent upon us to share the actual facts with them and share the data. We've received lots of information about how our teachers and our administrators' salaries compare with other districts within the county and with other districts our size. And it is our responsibility to share that correct information. And then they can make the decision for themselves, but we can't just say, well, that's their perception, so we're going to do this. We have to use information and data to make our decisions, and it's incumbent upon us to take information from the community to the administrators and back and forth. That is our job, to work as that conduit.
Joe, anything?
No, I'm good. I think everybody's made great points. on whatever side they're on, so I'm just gonna let that lie.
All right, I'll just add, you know, for the public, you can look at, I believe it's the State Cup report that it shows salaries, number of students, and it's pretty stark when you look at the districts even around us where our administrators lie. Also, you can look at I believe it's called the State Checkbook, which lists every public employee in the state of Ohio. So you can look this stuff up. It's real easy. Takes like 5 minutes in Google. For me.
And Mr. West, to confirm that CUP report you mentioned, thank you for mentioning
Yeah.
that. That is on the Department of Education's
Yep.
website.
Yep. And then, you know, for me, in the last, I think, 2 years, we've lost, I think, 3 administrators to go to other districts. And you'll always have that. But for me, I want to retain the talent. You know, if we train them and they start out as a teacher and they become an associate or whatever, I want to keep them. I want to keep them here in the district. And I know we'll always have that turnover into other districts, but I think this is just a small thing that we can do. But that's all I have. So is there anything else from anybody?
Yeah, I would just say that you have to remember, Medina is a stepping stone. As Wayne County is a stepping stone for Medina, Medina is a stepping stone for Cuyahoga County. It's really not fair to compare Medina to Cuyahoga County, because as soon as you cross that border, their salaries jump $10,000 to $15,000. And you might want to compare us to Solon, which does not have near the amount of administrators that we have. And I'm not saying that we're overstaffed, because I don't think we are, but you have to be careful with comparisons, especially when you head into Cuyahoga County. And if I was an assistant principal here and I got a job offer at Independence, yeah, I'd go there. You're only going to probably have 400 kids in your whole school. So, I mean, that is a person that's trying to go there to maybe go to a bigger school. So we're not losing people because of our low pay. It's because, you know, they want to move on in, and they see that the people that they would have to beat out within the district aren't leaving anytime soon. So I just think you have to be careful of those comparisons.
I have no doubt that we will still lose people, but if we can retain even a few of them, I think that's better for our district. So that's just my opinion. Anything else from anybody? This side? This side? Mr. Chambers, when you're ready.
Sure. Yes, Ms. Parkhurst,
Aye.
Mr. Nichols,
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard,
No.
Ms. Moore,
No.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we will be having an executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, or compensation of a public employee or official, discussion with the board's legal counsel of disputes involving the board that the subject is of pending or imminent court action, preparation for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. I would entertain a motion to move to executive session.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We will not be moving, we will not have taking any action when we leave executive session. Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Ms. Parkhurst,
Aye.
Ms. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Nichols,
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard,
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's it, everybody. Have a nice evening if you are here visiting. Yeah, and don't get too wet.